Welcome, dear viewers, to another chilling episode where we delve into the darkest corners of the human experience. Tonight, we bring you 5 terrifying tales involving an object that, on the surface, seems harmless and even comforting to some. But beware, for these stories reveal the sinister side of what should have been nothing more than an inanimate companion. Join us as we uncover the horrors of 5 sex doll horror stories. Story 1. The Possessed Doll. Our first story takes us to a small town where Mark, a lonely man in his late 30s, decided to purchase a doll to fill the void of companionship in his life. He ordered a high-end, realistic model from an obscure website that promised lifelike features and unparalleled quality. Whom he named Emily, she was incredibly lifelike, with soft, realistic skin and a beautiful face. For a while, Emily seemed to be the perfect solution to his loneliness. However, strange things began to happen. Mark started to notice subtle changes in Emily's appearance. Her eyes seemed to follow him around the room, and her facial expressions appeared to change ever so slightly. At first, Mark dismissed these observations as figments of his imagination, but the occurrences became more frequent and pronounced. One night, he awoke to find Emily sitting up in bed, staring directly at him. Terrified, he threw the doll into the closet and tried to go back to sleep, but the sense of being watched was overwhelming. The next day, Mark found Emily back in the bed, positioned exactly as she had been before he threw her into the closet. Panic set in as he realized he was dealing with something beyond his understanding. Desperate, he contacted a local paranormal investigator. The investigator discovered that the doll was possessed by the spirit of a woman who had died tragically and was now seeking revenge. With the investigator's help, Mark performed a cleansing ritual to banish the spirit. The ritual was intense and frightening, with Emily's lifelike features contorting in ways that seemed almost human. Finally, the spirit was expelled, and the doll returned to its inanimate state. Mark immediately disposed of Emily and vowed never to purchase anything similar again. The experience left him scarred and wary of any object that seemed to lifelike. Story 2. The Stalker Doll. In our second story, Sarah, a young woman living alone in the city, received an unexpected gift from an anonymous admirer. It was a doll, custom-made to look exactly like her. At first, she was horrified and tried to get rid of it, but no matter what she did, the doll kept reappearing in her apartment. Sarah contacted the police, but they couldn't find any evidence of how the doll was getting back into her home. The situation became more disturbing when Sarah started receiving threatening messages from the stalker, who seemed to be watching her every move. Terrified, Sarah hired a private investigator to find out who was behind this torment. The investigator discovered that the stalker had installed hidden cameras in the doll and was using them to spy on her. The stalker, an obsessive ex-boyfriend, was arrested and the cameras were removed, but the psychological damage to Sarah was profound. She moved to a new city and changed her identity to escape the nightmare, but the trauma remained with her. Story 3. The Cursed Doll. Our third story takes us to a small village in Eastern Europe, where a man named Ivan purchased a sex doll from a local antique shop. The doll was said to be a rare collectible from the early 20th century, and Ivan, a collector of unique items, couldn't resist. Ivan displayed the doll proudly in his home, but soon, strange occurrences began to plague his household. Objects would move on their own, eerie whispers filled the night, and Ivan started having horrific nightmares involving the doll. Desperate to understand what was happening, Ivan researched the doll's history and discovered that it was cursed. The original owner, a powerful witch, had imbued the doll with dark magic after being scorned by her lover. Anyone who possessed the doll would suffer until they either passed it on to another unsuspecting victim or performed a complex and dangerous ritual to break the curse. Ivan decided to attempt the ritual, despite the warnings of dire consequences if done incorrectly. As he began the ritual, the atmosphere in his home grew heavy with a malevolent presence. Shadows moved on their own, and the doll seemed to come to life, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. With great effort, Ivan managed to complete the ritual, breaking the curse. The doll disintegrated into dust, and the supernatural occurrences ceased. Though relieved, Ivan was forever changed by the experience. He gave up his hobby of collecting antiques and moved far away from his village, seeking solace in a new life free from the horrors of the past. Story 4. The Haunting of Emily. In our fourth tale, we return to the story of Emily, doll that haunted Mark. This time, however, we focus on a new owner, Lisa, who acquired the doll at a second-hand store, unaware of its dark history. Lisa was initially fascinated by Emily's realistic features and intricate design. She placed the doll in her bedroom, thinking it would make for an interesting conversation piece. But it wasn't long before she began experiencing the same eerie phenomena as Mark. Emily's eyes seemed to follow her, and her expressions would change when Lisa wasn't looking. One night, Lisa woke up to find Emily standing at the foot of her bed, her face twisted into a menacing grin. Paralyzed with fear, Lisa couldn't move as the doll slowly approached her. Suddenly, the room filled with an icy chill, and the lights flickered violently. In a desperate bid for help, Lisa contacted a medium who specialized in haunted objects. The medium revealed that Emily was possessed by the spirit of a vengeful woman who had been wronged in life. The spirit was using the doll as a vessel to enact her revenge on anyone who owned it. With the medium's guidance, Lisa performed a ritual to expel the spirit from the doll. The ritual was intense, with the spirit fighting back fiercely. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the spirit was banished, and Emily returned to her lifeless state. Lisa disposed of the doll immediately and took measures to cleanse her home of any lingering negative energy. Though the ordeal was over, the experience left her deeply shaken. She vowed never to bring another second-hand item into her home and became an advocate for raising awareness about the potential dangers of haunted objects. Story 5. The Revenant Doll. Our final story takes us to the outskirts of Tokyo, where a young man named Hiroshi purchased a high-end doll from a mysterious vendor. The doll, named Yumi, was incredibly lifelike, with advanced features that made her almost indistinguishable from a real person. Hiroshi was initially pleased with his purchase, finding comfort in Yumi's presence. However, it wasn't long before he noticed something strange about the doll. Yumi seemed to move on her own, and Hiroshi often found her in different positions from where he had left her. One night, Hiroshi woke up to find Yumi standing by his bedside, her eyes glowing with an eerie light. Terrified, he tried to move, but he was paralyzed. Yumi leaned in close and whispered in a language he couldn't understand, sending chills down his spine. Hiroshi sought help from a local shaman, who informed him that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a woman who had died tragically and was now seeking to return to the living world. The shaman explained that the spirit was using Yumi as a vessel and would eventually try to possess Hiroshi to complete her return. With the shaman's assistance, Hiroshi performed a complex ritual to banish the spirit from Yumi. The ritual was intense and dangerous, with the spirit resisting fiercely. Hiroshi immediately disposed of the doll and took steps to cleanse his home of any remaining negative energy. Though the experience left him deeply shaken, he was grateful to have survived the ordeal. He became a firm believer in the supernatural and often shared his story to warn others about the potential dangers of seemingly harmless objects. These 5 stories serve as a chilling reminder that even the most innocuous objects can harbor dark secrets and malevolent forces. As we've seen, what starts as a simple purchase can quickly turn into a nightmare beyond imagination. As you go about your daily lives, remember to stay cautious and be aware of the potential dangers that lurk in the most unexpected places. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe and be mindful of the objects you bring into your home.